Greetings from Cleveland, Ohio. Today is Sunday, September 17th, 2023. It is about 3 o'clock p.m. We are on Fidelity, just off of West Boulevard, heading toward West 105th Street on the west side of Cleveland. And today it's going to be more of a video showcasing some general Cleveland streets on our way to Lakewood, Ohio. Actually just going to be going to the grocery store on a very pleasant 70-degree day. Normally at this time I'd be playing, whoa, look at that. There is a big time bee on the ground there. That's why I was walking around it. Didn't want to get stung by that. It was like actually crawling on the ground, but like it was the size of a thick quarter. But yeah, normally at this time of day on a Sunday in late September or mid-September, I would be watching the Cleveland Browns and then heading out after the game, like around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. What the Browns play on Monday Night Football this week for week 2 against the Steelers. So I'll be playing tomorrow. It does feel a little bit windy right now, so hopefully the audio isn't too impacted by that. We're approaching Bernard on West 105th Street. And also I do not have the 2 microphones set up, but a little bit behind me, my mom is actually riding with me, enjoying the bike ride. So sometimes I'll be going at a slower pace or stopping the video just to make sure that we're still together, because sometimes I'll be narrating and lose track of how far I've gone. This is the intersection of Joan and West 105th Street. Sometimes you have to be careful on certain sidewalks to make sure there's not glass on the ground. Throughout the year, this particular sidewalk had a lot of glass on it, although the sidewalk looks like it's in a bit better shape than it was. I wonder if they did some work on that recently. So we're going down Joan right now, and I'm going to get ready to cross to the other side of the street. And this route that I'm taking is a frequent route that I take if I'm riding from home to go out to Lakewood to certain places. On my right here used to be a Huntington Bank. Well, before that, I think it was Third Federal Bank, but then it was Huntington, and they've been under construction for a while, turning it into a BQ washland, and they have the sign up for it, and you can see inside the machinery's in there, but they haven't actually opened yet, so I'm not sure what the holdup is, but it sounds like it's going to be a laundromat in the future. And then right here on my left is Domino's Pizza. This is where I always go to get my my Domino's deals. And then straight ahead of us is Westown Square. I've done videos down Lorain before that talk about this, but this is where the Sears department store used to be, at the front part of the street. back in at least the 70s, and then eventually they tore it down and turned it into this. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, again with people reminiscing who grew up in the neighborhood of the Sears that used to be here. You see, that was my mom beeping the horn because you see that car that just went through. Like, it had already been a red light for about 1.5 seconds, and that car just still blew through. It wasn't blowing through on the yellow light. But cars tend to do that. That's why, as either a walker or a biker, I never just go out as soon as it says walk. You have to look both directions and kind of gauge whether or not those vehicles are actually going to be prepared to stop. I'm shooting today's bike riding video in 1080p mode, and usually I do 4K videos for the quality. I think the quality will still be plenty good, but I actually forgot my cord to charge my battery pack at home. By the way, that Burger King that you just saw there on the left is where one of the Cleveland kidnappings happened many, many years ago. It might have been like the Gina DeJesus. Where Ariel Castro was like the school bus driver, so that's always a thing to point out when you cross that intersection. But anyway, I forgot my charging cable for my portable battery pack back at my office. So therefore, 1080p videos require, or they save on the battery time a little bit, so I'm hoping this video can last the duration of the ride. If I had done a 4K quality video without my battery pack, I probably would have only gotten like 30 minutes of recording time. On the right side here is a Save-A-Lot and Shoppers World. This was a Finest grocery store, which later turned to Tops. I can't remember if it was ever Giant Eagle. I think it may have, I don't know. I can't remember if it briefly turned to Giant Eagle here or not. But now just running alongside what is now the Save-A-Lot store at, I believe this is West 110th Street. And when you cross over this bridge, you're still in Cleveland, but you're crossing over the highway. I'll go ahead and pause here a little bit because I know there's, well, I'm not going to ride over the bridge because there's some people walking on it right now. All right, let's continue going. We are over the highway here. Let me see, I don't know if the camera can see through, but let me, yeah, I guess you can get a good visual still of that. That would be heading toward eastward. So eventually if you kept taking that, you'd get toward downtown Cleveland. And if you go the other way, you would keep heading west, more toward like Westlake. Up ahead here, well, let me wait to talk to you after I get past the highway. But up ahead here, not necessarily this first building on the right, but if we keep going a little bit further, it's right now called Borden's Milk, but I knew it when I was growing up, like seeing the Dairymens branding on it. And my grandfather, my mom's dad, actually worked at the facility when it was Dairymens. He was one of the people, I believe, who would drive like the small milk trucks and drive it around and deliver it. You got a little hubcap here in the way. Let me kick that to the side. Yeah, my mom was telling me stories about how she remembers as a kid going into that facility with her dad, and you'd see like some spilled milk in certain sections on the ground, and when he was on his route, his milk delivery route, he would find various, I don't know, either small little toys or things to give her. And he might have, I think he found one of the cats that she had as a kid. Her tiger cat. I was trying to do some Google research online on whether, like, why it's called Borden now, and there wasn't much information on it other than they were phasing the Dairymens name out and going to brand it as Borden. Because Borden, you can see it says since 1857, so I don't know if it was two separate companies or what, but definitely used to be Dairymens and now just under the Borden branding. Yep, so good old Dairymens, or now Borden's, or Borden Dairy. Sometimes you get one car that just parks up here on the sidewalk for whatever reason. But this route that you're seeing me take to Lakewood, even though it's not a bike trail, just from experience, it often has smooth sidewalks and not as much vehicle traffic, so you feel a little bit safer riding. Now, if I kept going down 110th, right now we're at Western, if I kept going 110th to get all the way to, I believe that's Berea at the end of the road, we would hit the new Amazon distribution center. When I say new, again, it's a relative context. New because it was like maybe in the past 3 or 4 years built there, but prior to that it was a big open grass field. And I know for many years when I was younger there was speculation that maybe they would put an overflow Cleveland High School there, but that part never developed, and then eventually became an Amazon distribution center, or Amazon like final stop delivery center. I think very much like how you've got the one that I showed just past Lyndale heading in toward Brooklyn, where the old drive-in movie theater was on Memphis. So we're going down Western toward West 117th now. During this bike ride, I've seen an evolution of small things that maybe a lot of other people wouldn't notice, but many years ago when I started this bike ride, especially up here by this building, there would be a bunch of trees. They just had tons and tons of trees, and that was part of the nice thing. Like, you felt like you were always in the shade as you were riding by here. Then one year they just completely got rid of all the trees, and we were like, oh man, like, why did they get rid of all the trees? Like, all the shade that we were used to. Yeah, but that was a while ago now that was replaced. And then even though West 117th is at the end there, what we typically do, again, to stick with streets that have less traffic, is we cut down West 114th Street, meaning making a right turn here. And this is one of those roads that just always seems very peaceful. Might be a little bumpy, but still nice and peaceful. Just wait to make sure these cars aren't turning down it. If we had gone up to 117th Street, we would have hit a Shell gas station, and then Home Depot, Staples, and then you would just continue down 117th. We are going to meet 117th eventually once we get to the end of the street up here. this building on the right here. Well, not really a building, but to me, I always thought of it like, oh, it looks like an airport hangar. But I think it possibly could have salt in it. Like one of those places that houses rock salt. And the green sign over here does say Ohio Department of Transportation. So that would make sense if they're storing the salt truck units there. Or not salt truck units, but the salt for the salt trucks. And you've got some type of shipping place here on the left. It says Welded Ring Products Company. The Cleveland Transportation Drop Yard. On the other side, if we were staying on 110th, there's the Greater Cleveland Habitat for Humanity, or I think one of those like store rehab sale places. On our left side here is Dorn Color. So sometimes you'll get a scent of like a paint smell. But oftentimes when I come by, it's on the weekend, so there's really no activity going on here. There is a bit of a hidden gem coming up here on the corner of West 114th and Berea. You can see it on the right there. It's called Scoot Coffee. So you have to check their hours to see exactly when they're open, but a lot of times we see when they are open. Seems like there's a loyal customer base. Let me try to get a sign where the shot where the telephone pole's not in the way. Yeah, so right there, that's what I'm talking about. There's the place called Scoot Coffee. And then I believe there's supposed to be a bakery that's also moving in there, like sharing the space. I don't see the sign at this very moment to know exactly what the bakery is called, but we did see it advertised and marketed a couple of weeks ago. So if you're interested in new coffee places that are kind of hidden, you maybe didn't know about, feel free to check them out. There's also like picnic tables outside. You got a nice big yard over there. So now we're crossing to the north side of Berea Road off of West 114th. And there's another paint plant right here on my right called Nippon or Nippon plant, or paint rather. Got some storage lockers on the right called Helm Storage. And at At the bottom of the hill here, we will have reached the intersection of West 117th and Berea. This intersection, I believe on the weekends, oh, see, one biker zipping by. That's why you always try to stay back a little. But yeah, they should get the turn first, and then a little bit after that, we'll get the walk sign. Believe me, my mom is not blowing the horn at me. She will often, at busy intersections, blow it just to make cars aware that bikers are about to go in the intersection, because sometimes cars are overzealous and will try to turn that corner first. The 78 bus goes down West 117th Street. You can see the RTA sign ahead of me. Once we cross underneath this bridge headed toward Madison Avenue, you enter Lakewood, Ohio. If you're on the western side of the street, I think the way it works is, so the side that we're on now, once we cross the bridge, will be Lakewood, and then everything on the opposite side will be still Cleveland. Anytime there's a big flash flood, this area right here on the street level will catch a lot of flooding, where the waters will be deep all the way to here, so you'll see cars submerged under there. And then to our right, you've got the West 117th Madison Rapid Station. So yeah, this whole thing over here should be Lakewood, and then everything that would be going that way, the other side of Madison, or other side of 117th rather, would be Cleveland. Over there by Joe's Deli, you can actually see the Lakewood, Ohio sign. Sort of your welcome to Lakewood. The Aldi that I frequently shop at is just behind that Joe's Deli. And that's the Aldi that had, I can stop here briefly. I think with the 10p you can zoom in 4 times. See that building way in the back that has the boarded up, like instead of brick it's boarded up in the middle? That's where a car actually bulldozed through the building about a month and a half ago. Supposedly an older man, accelerated accidentally the wrong way, and he just crashed through the building. Might have injured a couple people inside, but fortunately it didn't sound like there were anything too severe. In just 1 second, I'm gonna pause and check with my mom what direction she wants to take to get to Marc's that we're headed to. Yeah. I was just talking with my mom on the game plan of which side of the street to be on, and whether we want to go down Madison or Franklin. She was also trying to help for strategic purposes, because sometimes, Franklin is the probably quicker street and more peaceful, but we've already done that through part of Cleveland. Maybe she was saying maybe we want to show a little bit of Madison. I'll see. For now, it's just riding down Madison a bit, you've got that car wash on the right, neighborhood family practice on the right. I have covered this during a full Madison Avenue walk video that I did a year ago. I think it was a year ago, around Halloween time. So if you're more interested in a slow-paced walk that highlights everything on Madison, be sure to go back and check that out. What's cool is that even though that was filmed a year ago, roughly, there's still people who discover it. Like, I think a week or so ago, a person who many years ago drove a UPS vehicle said that they came across it. It used to be their route. Over there's an Hola Tacos, and next to that is a Liliana Bridal House. Speaking of cars accidentally accelerating the wrong direction, they had a scary case of a car that was in the bridal place accelerated through the fence at Hola Tacos, and customers that were there, I don't know how they avoided disasters, because it was scary on the video, and they went flying everywhere, the people that were sitting outside. But it looks like they've reinforced the fence outside of Hola Tacos. You can see the 25 bus still operating on a Sunday, going down Madison Avenue. On the right, there's a Family Dollar. And this early part of Madison that we're going through right now in the Lakewood area is the Birdtown area. So that's why the streets on the left side in particular will have names like Lark, or I think the next intersection is Quail. And another way you can tell that we are in Lakewood is the street signs in Cleveland are colored blue, but the street signs in Lakewood are colored green. I think I said that right. Cleveland, they're blue. Lakewood, they're green. See how the bus shelters have a little bit of a Birdtown theme to them, at least on the writing where it says the word Birdtown with some other words written throughout it. This street on the left is Robin. I think it's more so the streets that are on the left side, that's the Birdtown area. Toward the right, like this street up here says Lakewood, going northbound. And that would lead, all those streets going to the right would lead you into Franklin, followed by followed by Detroit. Looks like they finally paved the Lakewood Road. Quail, headed toward the left, is this intersection, and then after that, the street. It kind of normally would be a continuation, like you would think it'd be the same thing, but up here, it's Almeida going to the north, but if you're going south, it's Dowd, which is another bird name. There's Baracho Bar. Applejack's Toys is at the intersection of see, is a good thing again where you see the same street but different names going on the directions. Halstead on the left, Cohasset going to the right. got Grace Lutheran Church and Preschool on our right side here, and then if we were to veer to the left, you would have Madison Park. There's a lot of activity going on in Madison Park right now, kids out and about. I would try to show it more, but the trees are kind of in the way. It looks like some of them are kicking the soccer ball around and whatnot. Okay, we are going to turn off of Madison now and check out Franklin, but we'll go down Grace. And let me see which side of the street I want to go on. I think I'll go on the west side of the street. We won't be taking this all the way to Detroit because for our destination it would be going a little bit further than we need to. But I know between Detroit and Franklin, the houses on Grace and several of the other streets in the vicinity are very elegant looking. Almost like mini mansion Victorian. I don't know if Victorian's the right word, but the style of the houses is very unique. We're not seeing them at this point on Grace. I don't know if, as we get closer to Franklin, if a few of them still look like that. But yeah, if you ever have the chance, try to check out between Franklin and Detroit. I think on the corner up here is an example of one of those houses. Yeah, this yellow one on the left. Normally I would have stopped to showcase it, but people were sitting on the front porch, so I didn't want to come off like I'm invading their privacy as they're peacefully sitting outside. And it might not even be Grace that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's Grace or Cohasset. But anyway, we are going to turn down Franklin now. If you're going through Lakewood, now most of the streets do have bike lanes, like Madison has a bike lane, Detroit has a bike lane, Franklin has one. But if you notice, there is significantly less vehicle traffic on Franklin. So if I was riding solo today, I might, well, I should clarify, if I was riding solo and if speed was a factor, like I was really trying to get somewhere in a certain amount of time, I might take the curb bike lanes, because I generally feel safe on Franklin riding, and then when there's not massive amounts of traffic. But on the same note, the sidewalks are always very smooth on Franklin too, so if you stick with the sidewalks, it's just as good. The only thing is there are walkers or dog walkers every so often, so sometimes you have to stop and make sure you're giving them a path to go by. This is the intersection of Chesterland and Franklin. And after that will be the intersection of Lewis and Franklin. We'll take this chance to cross to the other side where we have a light here to cross with. If you're ever riding to Detroit, that's kind of a unique curvy road when you're going down Lewis and it curves into Parkway. So if I'm coming from Lakewood, like coming from further west going eastward, and I am on Franklin but want to go somewhere on Detroit, I'll ride down that street. It's like a nice hill going downward too, not like a slight incline, along with a diagonal. Passing by Elber. Wyandotte is this street, and then up ahead is Parkwood, and we're getting very close to Lakewood High School. This next intersection where Lakewood High School is Bunce. Well, I always think of Bunce as a pretty significant road that cuts all the way through to Cleveland, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Bunce might be the road that takes you out by Lakewood Park if you're going northbound. And the 83 bus also runs down, well, it doesn't run down Bunce, it runs down Warren Road. So I might be mixing up Warren Road and Bunce as far as where Lakewood Park is, but it's somewhere near this area. So you got Lakewood High School on the left. I was not a student at Lakewood High School, but I know I did go in there once. It was like a building toward that left side to take either my SAT or ACT test when I was a high school student. And then on the right side here, when I was on junior varsity at the John Marshall baseball team, my brother was playing on the varsity field, which is to the left. You can't see it from here, but over there on the right, that was where the junior varsity team was playing Lakewood High School. And I cracked a double. It was like my first game, I think, or it might have been my first game in the for the team. I cracked a deep double to left field. I was like, as soon as I hit it, I was like in awe, because I was like, oh my God, like that's like the farthest deep hit I've ever had. And then I started, you know, hustling out the double. That's one of my glory moments. What is this street? I already passed up what the name of the intersection is. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go. I don't know why it's got the red walk sign, because there's not really traffic going on. Got Blossom Park, followed by Olivewood. A couple of streets after you get past Bunce. The first few streets are very tighter quarters on the houses that are there. Like the houses start becoming like right on top of each other, very small, if any, front yards. Like right here you can see the front yard is what, like 2 feet, 3 feet maybe. And there's really no backyards either, so like right after that you're already on top of the next street, which is Lincoln. And I think Lincoln onward you start getting, I mean the front yards aren't huge, but you start getting back to normal yards. Always fun to see some people beginning their Halloween decorations. This massive spider web coming out from the second level. And then we're passing Marlowe. If you had gone right on Marlowe to Detroit, I believe that's where the old Lakewood Hospital would have been, and is torn down. It has a big empty grass field still. And then Bell is another one of the big roads I think of with Lakewood, near when you get closer to like the downtown Lakewood area. So I often think of Bunce, Bell, and Warren. Bell, in my mind, is sort of the beginning of the downtown area on Detroit Avenue, and then Warren Road becomes like the middle or close to the end of it. Oh, what is this sign? Hilliard Road, road closed ahead. So sometimes there's some construction detours that you don't anticipate. We'll have to adapt to this on the fly. If that's Hilliard though, Franklin turns into Hilliard at the diagonal past Warren Road, and we were going to turn onto Warren, so we'll have to see exactly where this construction is located and if it's interfering with us. This is St. Charles. I see the barrels up ahead and the road closed signs. Well, the detour looks like it's heading toward the right. It doesn't, I don't think we'll be affected. It looks like they just have it so you can't pass through Warren Road through to Hilliard. They must be doing some construction work on Hilliard. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for my mom to meet up with me before I cross, make sure we're on the same page where we're going. Alright, so I'm back recording again. This is one of those intersections where you just have to be aware of the construction, because most cars would either have the option to turn right onto Warren or go straight, but now all of those cars will be possibly turning right. Yeah, so like right now, there's a car behind us. It says, even though it says no turn on red. Let's see. All right, so they waited. Again, you just always have to be aware of that because you don't want to blindly go out and then they accelerate. But we are turning to go down Warren Road toward Detroit. Again, our destination today was to pop into Marc's in Lakewood. And right now this is closed, otherwise you'd have to be careful of cars using this little diagonal to turn into Hilliard Road. On the right side is the Lakewood United States Post Office.
Yeah. And like a big little.
And now we're entering our little slice of downtown Lakewood. And I have done full Detroit Avenue walks too, if you want to check out more details about what specifically are on Detroit, as well as the downtown Lakewood area. But in this plaza, on the corner is Charlie's Philly Cheesesteaks. And I'm going to get off and walk right here because we're sort of in, you know, where businesses and people could be coming out. Although a lot of these places on a Sunday appear to be closed. Marc's is up ahead, and that strip over there you've got a mix of Supercuts, GameStop, Marco's Pizza, Wingstop, Robox Juice, Palm Tanning Beach, Chipotle. On our left here is, I think it's Pet Supplies Plus, one of those pet stores. So yes, we have arrived at our destination. Alright, so sometimes if there's two of us going, one of us will just stay outside somewhere and watch the bikes, but we're both going to pop into Marc's. So I'm going to take it over to the bike rack, which is located along Detroit Avenue. So just walking around the shopping area. finished up our bike ride. As I said earlier, my mom was along the ride with me, so thanks for her allowing me to lead the way today. Usually when we ride together, she goes first, you know, and I follow behind her, but so that you guys could see clearer in the video, she said, oh, I'll ride behind you today. But if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Yep, bye everyone. Again, signing off from Detroit Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio.